we had the big premiere for Across the Spider-Verse the other day, and Variety was there. They spoke to Amy Pascal, the producer on all these movies, and got some little tidbits about potential upcoming movies.
And she's a Sony executive.
It's actually really confusing because she left Sony and created her own production company, but must still have some kind of a partnership with Sony
Okay.
because she's still producing all the Spider-Man movies.
Okay.
I had to stop myself. I went down a really deep rabbit hole trying to figure out, like, where does Amy fit into all this? I don't get it. She left Sony like 8 years ago. How does she still get to? Can I produce a Spider-Man movie? I don't work for Sony.
Well, you can produce Spider-Man Earth 12.312.
Yeah, the one that nobody likes.
Yeah.
The one that's got feet for hands and hands for feet. So she dropped a few tidbits. A lot of articles are circulating saying Amy Pascal confirms a live-action Miles Morales movie.
Oh, I saw those headlines.
Spider-Woman movie on the way. And Tom Holland Spider-Man 4 finally confirmed. These are some of the tidbits going around. But if you read the article, I'll just read you the article verbatim, at least a portion of it, and you'll see why I'm skeptical of all of this news.
All right.
Except for, obviously, Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland is on the way. That's basically...
That is definitely happening.
It's not officially confirmed, but it's, of course, happening. Why wouldn't it happen?
Out of curiosity, not because I have any personal motive here, when are they recasting Spider-Man? Like, when
I
are they
think
going
you're
to
going
do
to say,
auditions again?
I have no personal motive, but just asking, is Zendaya still with Tom Holland? There was a tweet going around that they broke up, set the internet ablaze, but it turns out it might have been like you who tweeted it. It was just nobody. Some guy just tweeted it. All right, here's the Variety article that supposedly confirms all these upcoming movies. Producer Amy Pascal says a Spider-Woman and live-action Miles Morales movie are in the works. Quote, "You'll see all of it," she told me Tuesday at the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse premiere in Los Angeles. It's all happening. Here's my problem.
Wait, like, what was the context
What
of
was
that?
the context? What was the question she was asked? And what was the tone? Because it might have been, "You'll see all of it." Or it might have been, you'll see all of it. It's all happening.
I mean,
It's so vague. It's all happening. Because to me, that sounds like basically anything you can imagine in the spider world, it's being talked about. Everything's happening. I have to see the question to know if this is really, we're kind of taking it on faith. We're taking it on blind faith that she asked a question where an answer as vague as, "You'll see all of it." Because it sounds to me like you could have asked anything. I could have said, "Are we going to get a Spider-Ham solo movie?" "You'll see all of it." So
it's like, hey, Dad, can we go to Disney World? Sure, whatever.
yeah, we're taking it on faith. This is written by Mark Malkin. We're taking it on faith that Mark asked the precise, like, correct questions.
Well, I'm sure the journalistic integrity of, okay, Variety. I mean, you know.
Yeah, so we don't know what question they asked. In what tone was this answer given? Did Amy even hear the question? It goes on. Producer Avi Arad teased that moviegoers will see a Spider-Man movie sooner, or Spider-Woman movie sooner than you expect. I cannot tell you yet, but it's coming. So that sounds like a confirmation of Spider-Woman. We still don't have a quote where Avi Arad actually says the words Spider-Woman, but this one sounds a little more
Is
specific.
Spider-Woman Spider-Gwen, like in Into the Spider-Verse, or it's someone else?
She calls herself Spider-Woman, but a lot of people have called themselves Spider-Woman. And actually, we do have confirmation of a Spider-Woman appearing in live action in TV soon, but we'll get to that. Pascal also said a fourth Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland and Zendaya is still in the works, but the writer's strike has paused development. Are we going to make another movie? Of course we are. We're in the process, but the writer's strike, nobody is working during the strike. We're all being supporters, and whenever they get themselves together, we'll get started. So her answer on Spider-Man 4 is essentially the same as my answer. Like, of course they're making it. Why wouldn't they make it?
How many do you think they'll make with Tom Holland?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, the record so far for solo movies in the MCU, I think, would be Thor, because he's had 4 solo movies, plus all of his Avengers appearances.
But it didn't go well, right? Like the fourth was a flop, or was it not?
I'd have to check that. I don't think any MCU movie can actually be called a flop.
Yeah.
I think by MCU standards, it might not have been the best performing, but at least critically and at least to us, like I didn't like Thor:
Yeah.
Love and Thunder, and I enjoyed Ragnarok. Spider-Man, though, I mean, part of the reason they wanted to cast a young actor is so you can follow the Spider-Man career for a while. I would love to see 6 of them. Go to like actually give Peter Parker a chance to evolve and grow. That would be cool.
No, I want them to recast him because I want a shot at auditioning for.
You might be aged out of it now.
No. Once I shave,
Yeah,
I look very
go
young.
back to your normal baby face. Here's the last quote I'll read you. Sony boss Tom Rothman was much more cagey about the future. He laughed. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
And then he
So-
killed the reporter.
That's right. So Mark Malkin will not be able to produce another fine article like this one with all the proper context. I mean, I'm sure Mark's a great guy.
Yeah. What the? Why are we? Come on. Can't attack Mark. What was it again?
Malkin.
Yeah. It's
Sorry.
nice of him to give us this scoop. I personally believe him.
We're just jealous. That's all it is.
I'm upset he didn't ask about Spider-Ham, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure if he did. Well, she said we're going to see all of it. So everything you can imagine, we're going to see.
It's like with the AI. You just tell the AI, I want a Spider-Man movie directed by Quentin Tarantino. We're going to get that too.
Yeah, that's on the way. Daniel, what would you want to see in a Tom Holland Spider-Man 4? Or if we handed the rights over to you, the entire Spider-Man universe, the SSU, the MCU, all of it, what
Oh,
would you be
man.
most excited to see?
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I'll give you my answer.
Okay.
Tom Holland at the end of No Way Home, they took everything away from him. Nobody remembers who Peter Parker is, and he felt a lot more like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, where the world is against him, and it's very much an underdog story. Because one complaint people have had about the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies is he has Iron Man as a mentor in the first one, and then in the second one, he essentially has a fishbowl head. Ends up there's
Mysterio.
a twist, Mysterio, but he still has Happy Hogan, as
Yep.
a mentor. We haven't really seen a true solo Tom Holland Spider-Man movie where it's Peter Parker versus the world. So I would like them to not smooth over what happened at the end of No Way Home, stick with that for a little while, and get a more focused, personal, smaller Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I mean that was exciting, right? At the end of No Way Home, he's in this like tiny apartment building, like in this tiny apartment alone. Nobody knows him. Like, yeah, it'd be really cool to follow him like that for a movie where he's a true underdog fighting to, save everybody.
Yeah,
and nobody cares about him.
That's what I would like to see. Cheeksters.
And that would be pretty like. It would have to lean a little dark and gritty too, just like a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah, I would like to see that. And now people are like, why did Gil interrupt Daniel to just go, Cheekster? Cheekster777 says, give us Sinister Six. So Drew Goddard, who worked on the Daredevil TV series, who worked on Cabin in the Woods, for years he's been developing a Sinister Six movie. When Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, there was a bunch of setup in that movie for spin-offs. Sony wanted that to be the springboard into their whole Sony cinematic universe. And then, of course, none of that ended up happening. If you ask Goddard about this, he'll still say, like, I'm game to do a Sinister Six movie. Amy Pascal will mention, hey, maybe a Sinister Six movie could happen. What I would like to see is, following up from No Way Home, maybe do a Sinister Six where you team up these villains across the multiverse. Bring Doc Ock back, Green Goblin. Thanks for the coffee, Owen. Bring them back and do this multiversal Sinister Six.
So
That would be
Sinister
cool.
Six is like a Suicide Squad type thing where like the villains team up, but to like do something good.
I think that would be the idea if they did a Sinister Six movie. In the comics, they're typically presented as villains. I'm sure they've done solo comics where it's exactly what you just described. And if they do the Sinister Six movie, yeah, you've got to assume it'll be in the vein of Venom or Morbius, where you take someone who's traditionally a villain and give them anti-hero antics.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Adam's message.
Yeah, Adam says, Cheekster, that's what they called me back in college.
Wait, so you said a Sinister Six movie is being made?
No, there is a long list of Sony Spider-Man related movies that have been talked about in public, have been announced at one point, only to go into what we call development hell, where you don't hear news about it for a long time, and it's essentially assumed that it's dead. That's where Sinister Six currently stands. It's been announced, but it's not happening until some more news comes out. But I would like to see that, though.
I agree with you. Seeing the multiversal version of that would be cool.
Yeah. But Miles Morales, okay, so there's this vague notion that a live action movie might be coming. Does that excite you?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I'm excited about any Spider-Man movie, especially I'm more excited about a live action Spider-Man than an animated one. Even though I loved Into the Spider-Verse, I'm really excited for it tonight. I'm still more excited about a live action Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I have to respond to Guy Incognito here. No spoilers for Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, if anyone spoils anything in the chat, I don't even know why I'm saying it like it's a possibility.
Yeah, I might even hold my coffee here to cover the chat
because
in case anyone's saying
if somebody does spoil something, I'm gonna have to go to Doctor Strange to cast some type of spell that's gonna like make everybody forget about me.
And everybody who knows who Daniel is from across the multiverse will stream into our universe, and no one's gonna show up. If they did a live action Miles Morales movie, what I would like to see is, I love the Miles Morales character. I love what they're doing with him in Spider-Verse. But we are stuck right now with a version of the character where he's dealing with a bunch of other spider people. It's kind of the Tom Holland problem again. We're not getting a true, focused, personal, solo Miles Morales movie. So if you do a live action version, that can be the more focused, just Miles version. And then the Spider-Verse movies can keep giving us the insanity, Spider-Ham and Spider, whatever.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Though the last thing I'll say about Miles Morales, I do love the version of the character we get in animation. So if it were up to me, my preference would be just do a Miles-focused animated movie in the same style, but not every Miles Morales movie has to be multiversal.
Well, so then how do you like, if you have the animated Miles Morales and then a live action Miles Morales and then you got Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire, like, are they all in the same multiverse, or is like is there an animated multiverse and then there's a live action multiverse, and maybe one day there's going to be like a giant movie where those worlds collide?
So the way Star Wars is handling this, because they have animated shows,
yeah,
and they've had characters who are introduced in animation have made the switch over to live action. And sometimes they'll get the person who voiced the character to also play the role in live action.
And their atoms start to destabilize and stuff.
Like, why? I'm usually flat. What's going on? Depth? I don't understand. Adam says Space Jam style Spider-Man crossover. Yeah, I don't think they'll go that route. That'd be interesting. But do the animated movies take place in the same multiverse as the live action ones? If you take the movies as text, then the answer would be yes. Because in the trailer, we saw Spider-Man 2099 says something about, that wizard and that dork in Earth 19999. So he's, of course, talking about Doctor Strange and Tom Holland. But if you ask the creators of the movie in real life, they give the legalese answer of, it's just a fun reference. We're doing totally different things. So they're separate universes, until they're not.
Wait. Okay, because I guess legally they sort of have to be separate universes.
We don't know.
Because Sony doesn't have control over those Spider-Man characters anymore, because they licensed it for Marvel and now they're licensing it back to Marvel. So they can't do whatever they want.
No. So we don't know the details.
Okay.
We know they are somehow sharing revenue, sharing profit, and sharing the characters. Is Sony allowed to just make their own solo Spider-Man movie? We have no reason to think they can't, other than the fact that they haven't. But we don't really know the details of that deal. What's allowed?
So that's okay. That's part of why it's so confusing, is we don't actually know the details here, and they give sort of ambiguous explanations of things because they're not sharing the details.
Yeah, we've seen interviews with Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal next to each other, and the interviewer will ask, are we going to see Spider-Man fight Venom? And Amy's like, yes. And Kevin's like, well, now, I don't know, maybe. So, yeah, we don't really know the details, is the long and short of it.
I think
it's a complicated web.
We need to start a campaign to free Spider-Man. It feels like he's trapped in all this legalese.
Well, there was a few years ago, they did almost split. Sony and Marvel, the deal was falling apart. And they were like, all right, next Spider-Man movie is going to have no ties to the MCU. And then supposedly Tom Holland made a big push to bring them back to the negotiating table. And they've recalibrated the deal. And now Daniel's trying to screw it up. Free Spider-Man. And Tom Holland's like, shut up. Hey, I'll give you a quick rundown of the Spider-Man stuff that is officially in development, because you're sick of all this fake stuff. It's all happening. What's really happening? Cut through the BS.
Yeah, what is happening?
Kraven the Hunter, R-rated, coming out this October.
By the way, so Kraven the Hunter used to be a poacher. Like in the comics, he like kills animals.
He wanted to kill the most dangerous animals just to prove he's the #1 hunter.
And so in the live action movie, they're making him somebody who protects animals.
Yeah, and he kills poachers.
Like,
well, you got a problem with that, Daniel?
I don't know. It just feels silly.
I mean, this is the Sony strategy, is taking villains, because Spider-Man is busy over in the MCU. So all they're left with is 899 villains.
Like, who cares about Kraven the Hunter? Does anybody care about him?
Who cares
No
about
offense to Kraven.
Who cares about Iron Man? And then in 2008, all of a sudden everybody does. If Sony can make a great Kraven the Hunter movie,
but they can't.
If Sony can make a great Kraven the Hunter movie,
wait, so why was
then
Sony?
You will care.
Sony was able to make Into the Spider-Verse, great movie. Across the Spider-Verse, probably going to be a great movie. Why were they able to make those good movies, but they can't make other good movies?
I wanted to start doing monologues at the beginning of this, like a late night talk show host.
Wait, yeah, you said you were going to do stand-up at the beginning of this.
No, I didn't say stand-up. It was just going to be one of those, like Jimmy Kimmel walks on stage and say, "Hey, we got a great show for you."
No, but you also said you wanted to do stand-up.
Stand-up-esque.
Okay.
So one of the things I was going to say is, so with the great response Sony's getting to Across the Spider-Verse, they reportedly, this is just rumor, they're considering making good movies from now on and retooling their strategy of making bad movies.
But seriously, why don't they make more good movies?
I don't know. I mean, it all comes down to who did they hire, right, to actually write the movie. Who from the studio is overseeing it. Here's one theory. Maybe there's a lot of studio interference. And they're like, we need it to be wacky and funny. But with the animated movie, they're like, it's animated. Who cares? We're going to go hands off. So the filmmakers get full creative control. But you can also just look at who they hired. It's Chris Miller and Phil Lord. I might be mixing up their last names. But those are the two guys who directed the Lego movie. And they were given control over Spider-Verse. They didn't direct it, but they produced it. They're talented people. They hired talented people. They made a great movie. You know, it feels like it shouldn't be that complicated.
So I just had $1 million idea.
All right.
All right, ready? Hear me out. Okay. Let's say we cracked multiversal travel. You know, you can go to other universes. What could we do then? Let's say we're studio executives. Let's say we run Sony and we crack multiversal travel. Let's just go to another universe, figure out, hey, what blockbuster is Sony making here? Just steal that movie, bring it into our universe, and you just steal all the good movies from these different universes.
You're like the people who are afraid of AI because they're like, what if it writes all our movies for us? And if AI gets good enough to write great movies, that's the least of our worries. We invent multiversal travel, and your first idea is like, I can see more movies?
I'm not scared of it. I think that'd be awesome. But guess what? It would lead to the collapse of the multiverse, because what would happen? I'd start stealing all these movies from these other universes, and then everyone else is going to do the same thing, because I'll tell people, like the other Sony executives, that I'm doing this, and everyone starts stealing movies from each other, and you end up basically having the same movies in every universe, which causes the culture of every universe to collapse into the same thing. Every universe becomes the same as every other universe, leads to total collapse.
Multiversal gentrification.
Yes.
But I would be like Captain America, who brought the Infinity Stones back to their rightful place in each timeline. And then I'm going to come back, I'm an old man. You're like, did something go wrong or right? And I'm like, something went wrong. Kill me.
Gil comes back and he says, these good Sony movies don't belong in our universe. Sony doesn't make good movies.
Get Venom out of my universe. You ruined my universe. Let There Be Carnage was fun. It was a fun movie.
I still haven't seen it.
The other confirmed movies, El Muerto. He is a villain who appeared in 2 issues of Spider-Man in 2006. He's I wrote this wrong. Luchador? Is that what they call like the Mexican wrestlers?
Oh, that sounds familiar.
That's what he is.
El Muerto means the death.
That's cool. He has a magic mask that gives him powers. And a lot of people were scratching their heads when this one got announced because it's like, no one's heard of this guy. He's literally been in 2 issues of Spider-Man ever. Here's the backstory. There's a rapper named Bad Bunny who performed in the movie Bullet Train. And Sony was so impressed with him, they're like, we want to give you a superhero movie. And they let him go through all the comics, and he found El Muerto. He's like, that's the guy I want to play. Last we heard, this movie is in development hell.
Which character did Bad Bunny play in
Bullet Train?
Bullet Train.
I didn't see Bullet Train. I have no idea.
I actually did see it. I watched it on the plane.
It's good?
It was okay.
It was okay?
Yeah.
This movie is supposed to come out January 2024. Hasn't started filming. So it's probably not going to happen at this point, would be my guess.
Maybe they're just going to like cram, they'll get it done really quickly.
Maybe. I'm sure that'll finally end Sony's trend of making mediocre SSU movies.
Yeah, maybe that's the issue. They've been putting too much effort into these movies.
Yeah. Madam Web. This one filming is actually wrapped. So this one's definitely happening. Cassandra Webb is an elderly woman blinded by neurological deterioration from myasthenia gravis. But she also has...
disease?
That's a disease,
Okay.
yeah. She also has profound psychic abilities. She can see the future. She gets the name Madam Web because she's connected to life support systems that look like webs. Most people, I think, know her from the animated series, where she also had the ability to traverse the multiverse. So Madam Web, the movie, is going to be the first female character to be developed within the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters. It's going to be an origin story of the clairvoyant whose psychic abilities allow her to see within the spider world. What does that mean? See within the spider world? I don't know. But another exciting thing about this movie is that Julia Carpenter is going to be in it. That is the second Spider-Woman. She's going to be part of this. So this will be the first SSU movie with an actual spider person in it. So that's cool.
That is interesting.
Venom 3, also on the way.
Really? Tom Hardy again?
Yeah.
Did those movies like make money?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think audiences generally like those movies like as just fun movies. And then I'll just mention briefly, there are also a couple of Spider-Man TV shows in the works. They're going to air on MGM Plus, a channel I've never heard of. And that's just part of the deal. They're like, we have to put it on MGM Plus. But then they're going
a streaming platform.
No, it's an actual TV station.
There's a TV station with the word plus in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it used to be called Epix, and then they changed the name to MGM Plus. But it's kind of like we have to put it on there first, because I think the contract says that, okay, back up a second. So they made a deal with Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who made the Spider-Verse movie. And they were like, we want you to create us a suite of Spider-Man shows. For some reason, the contract requires that the shows air on a TV network first before they can go to streaming. So they're going to air them on MGM Plus, but then we can watch them on Amazon Prime. So they say a suite of Spider-Man related shows. The 2 that have been announced are Silk Spider Society. Silk is a superhero name for a character named Cindy Moon. Basically, in 2014, in a Spider-Man comic, they revealed that when that spider bit Peter Parker all those years ago, it then also bit Cindy Moon. So she has the same powers as Peter, basically. And so Silk is the name she takes. She's basically another spider person getting a TV show. I can't imagine it's going to use the same origin story where you're going to see like Tom Holland, from the movie, and the camera just pans over and it's like, by the way, she got bit too.
Did Tom Holland, did he get bit by a spider? What was his origin in the...
It's true, we never actually saw his origin.
We never saw his origin story.
But yeah, I think the assumption is he got bit by a spider. Cindy Moon, by the way, is a character who actually appears in the Tom Holland movies. She's a minor character kind of in the background, but this show will be a different Cindy Moon elsewhere in the multiverse. And they've announced the Spider-Man Noir live action series.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, that one's interesting. I assume they're not getting Nicolas Cage back, but based on all the weird, crazy stuff he does these days, it feels like he'll do anything. Maybe they could get him.
I feel like it might be better without Nicolas Cage.
I don't really follow the logic there. I mean, to me, Nicolas Cage fits this so well. It's such an absurd idea. He played the character so well in Spider-Verse. I guess, though, if they brought Nicolas Cage, that's them saying, we're not taking this seriously. This is a comedy.
that's... And I'm kind of... Like, I don't know. It's the same way. Like I wasn't excited to see the Venom movies because you said they're funny and jokey and like what. And it's like I don't know. I just don't get as excited about that. Like I want something that feels intense. Like especially a character like Venom. I think Venom is like is a villain and it's like really dark and stuff. And like I would like something relatively dark with Spider-Man Noir also.
Yeah, I think
I,
it's probably not going to happen.
like I hated that Nicolas Cage movie with Pedro Pascal.
Oh, the unbearable weight of massive
Yeah,
talent.
okay,
Yeah.
some of it was like okay, but it's like I just can't. I don't know. It's some movies like that where it's like just no part of it feels serious.
I found the scenes with just the two of them hanging out and becoming friends. Those are
Yeah,
my favorite scenes.
those
I
were
found them,
fun.
they were pretty hilarious. But when it actually tried to become a kind of funny action movie, I sort of checked out mentally.
Yeah,
In that one joke they kept doing of like, I'm Nick, fuck it. I was
yeah,
like, it's not funny.
yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on Spider-Man, Daniel? We're going to see Across the Spider-Verse tonight, possibly live streaming right after, or if not, then sometime in the days that follow to talk about it.
Yeah, but I'm excited for more Spider-Man.